So today's episode, it introduced some huge things like the Ventriloquist and a proto kind of killer Croc, but it also did something very bad, which I just don't know if I can ever get down with. What is up, Gothamites? Welcome to a brand new Gotham Season 5 review. It's that time of week where we dive into things, and this episode, you know, after like the massive episode last week, it was kind of back to like a bit of like normal Gotham stuff, but of course, I'm not going to put it down to a normal level actually, because we also got the Ventriloquist. But man, I can't talk about this right now, but I really don't like the way they ended that. But, you know, we also got basically Killer Croc. I said in my trailer breakdown last week, I was like, this has got to be Killer Croc. I know, like, blah, 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 we saw, you know, that there's mutants or whatever in previous seasons and stuff, but, you know, things like that Gotham have forgot to address. But I really enjoyed what they did with him, and overall this episode was interesting, but it was, you know, back to a normal pace. But, you know, before we dive into the specifics of this episode, be sure to subscribe to this channel, guys. As always, if you want to stay up to date with all Gotham news related things and other comic book nerdy things, definitely check out some of my other videos. I definitely recommend my Umbrella Academy review. If you like comic book shows, you guys need to check that out, and that video is all about why you should. So definitely do that, and crush the thumbs up button as well, because it really does let YouTube know that you want to see more videos just like this. So let's dive straight into this. So this episode I enjoyed, and I'm pretty sure, you know, it was one of those extra episodes. I can't confirm that. I haven't actually done the research if it was one of the extra episodes they filmed, since, you know, they got the 2 extra episodes. I've got a feeling it was. Somebody correct me down in the comments below if I'm wrong. But one of the things I liked about this was, obviously, it was very Harvey Bullock based. You know, I would say it was, you know, Harvey's kind of episode, even though, you know, we had a few other things going on. It was mainly surrounding, you know, his old partner Dix, and that whole storyline with this girl called Jane. So there was a few twists and turns that I really didn't see in this. For example, I thought that Jane was going to be Clayface. It's a really kind of pleasant surprise where they made it really like intimately tied to Harvey's past and how he's changed as a character throughout the years. But it reminded us that Harvey, as he's often depicted in the comics, is quite like one of those bent cops. As I said, not anymore, but he's done some things he regrets. For example, skipping right to the last scene of this episode was that really definitive moment with Harvey and Jim saying, like, you know, I can't give you forgiveness. And he was like, I know, but I just wanted to let you know that. You know, he was explaining how he's changed now, compared to who he was before. And Donald Logue is an absolute legend. I really freaking love this actor. I've enjoyed him in other shows. He's always never failed to, when he conveys emotion across the screen, to literally penetrate right into my soul and make me feel exactly what the character is feeling. Winding back the clocks, you know, right to the beginning, Barbara tells Jim about what happened at the beginning. It seems like Dix killed, you know, those 2 cops. And obviously that couldn't necessarily happen because Dix has been paralyzed for like the past, like 15 years. But I did kind of like that little Barbara and Jim moment at the beginning. But we had another moment throughout the episode. It's kind of a copy of what we've had in the past couple of episodes, I think. Barbara's just been basically saying, or like threatening, or at least hinting that you're gonna have nothing to do with this kid, and Jim's just like, yes, I goddamn am gonna have something to do with the kid. And, you know, he's been kind of hinting as well that you're not gonna be a fit mother. But to be honest, like, come on. I think Jim has more of a point here, because Barbara has been quite a loose cannon in the past few seasons. Granted, Jim has done some dark things, but who would you leave the kid with, really? I mean, even though Barbara's got to change now, you know, give Jim a break, Barb. But right away, when they were looking into who this could be, I did like how they mentioned Basil, you know, Clayface's real name, or Basil, whatever way you want to pronounce it. That essentially immediately tossed out the fact that it's not going to be Clayface. I thought it would have been cool to do Clayface, but, you know, upon like reflection of this episode, the story that entailed with Harvey's past was really kind of a lot nicer than it randomly being Clayface running around murdering people. So, you know, that was a good writing kind of decision there. And as I said, and I'll keep on mentioning throughout this review, it was full of really good, you know, Harvey Bullock character moments. Like, I felt sorry for Harvey. I felt like I understood what Harvey was kind of feeling when he felt bad for Dix. For example, he was meant to go check up on him. I mean, the bridges collapsed. You know, think how Gotham has been like. Everyone's been, you know, we've had those lines from Jim saying everyone's struggling for food, blah, blah, blah. And this guy he needs pain meds, he needs food, and he's just been there all by himself in his apartment. Yeah, and if you kind of recognize this guy, it's because he was in season 1. I think they actually did show a flashback at one point. Maybe it was in the preview for the episode or like a recap, where you see Jim with like his almost like skin like head. Way back in season 1, his hair is a lot better now. I really don't like the Jim season 1 look compared to what it is now. But then you also see Harvey as well. It just really takes me back. But going along in this storyline, they were digging deeper into the past, and it was kind of obvious that Dix and Harvey were kind of hiding something they weren't necessarily kind of proud about in the past, especially with Harvey not necessarily being the greatest cop in the past, as we've already touched upon. I liked how creepy this point of the episode is, but this was a very interesting concept within itself, in my opinion, because if any of you didn't realize already, you probably did, because they said it in the episode. This brought back Hugo Strange's experiments from Indian Hill, something that for the longest time people have scrapped. Now, I don't know if this was the best decision. I mean, it is and it isn't, because it's a great explanation. Hugo Strange is all about stuff like that, and he's been experimenting for a long time, so it might not even be the Hugo Strange Indian Hill experiments we saw in season 2 or anything like that. But it also opens up, when you bring this back, you may be happy with it, but it also opens up more holes in the terms of what happened to all the other ones at the end of season 2 who came out of the bus. I'm not saying, as I said, that Jane was a part of that or anything like that, but it just makes you think, where did everyone or all the other experiments go? So even though it was a good explanation, it does open up like something Gotham has abandoned for the longest time. I guess you could look at it this way. There are still, imagine like 10 years in the future in Batman's world, there are still Hugo Strange meta-human-like experiments wandering around Gotham. For example, like Jane, but possibly a whole bunch more that, you could manipulate the comic book origins of some characters out there, like in Gotham's universe, because of Hugo Strange. So I kind of dig that in a way, but I don't. It's weird. But anyway, Dix was killed by the fake Harvey because, she kind of looked like Harvey. But, I really resonated with this girl's story. Essentially, if I remember correctly, the mother got put away because she killed her husband. Harvey didn't have concrete evidence on that, but they were convinced that it was kind of blatant that she did kill the husband. But so Harvey pressed Jane into making a statement about her mother. She ended up in care in different places, eventually in Arkham Asylum. That's why she was experimented upon, and she was essentially just kind of destroyed mentally in a way. And Harvey obviously felt very responsible, or at least he contributed to that, which is why Jane also wanted to get at Harvey as well, and the cops. It was really this kind of tragic story that definitely made me feel for this character and Harvey in this episode. Even though Harvey was kind of responsible, that act when he was shooting her at the end, this is what I mean by Donald Logue's acting, when his whole face and lips were quivering. This is what I mean, man. He really gets it. He really hits the nail on the head with his performances like that. Personally, I haven't come across Jane Doe a whole bunch in what I've read in the comics or anything like that, but at least from what I know about her and the way Gotham did her and linked it to Harvey's past and the storyline was a pretty neat way to go. But now let's move on to what I am going to now declare and believe from here on out in Gotham, the Killer Croc of Gotham segment of the episode. So this was kind of cool. As I said, it was fillery alongside, as I said, it was little fillery episodes, stories going on within this episode. And that was Bruce and Alfred going after this person in the sewers, eating people and doing all kinds of things. Now, I actually didn't expect to be right here, but, I said in my trailer breakdown, if I remember correctly, that I'm not saying that Ace Chemicals created him, but you never know. And they actually did that. Jeremiah's toxins have, I guess, that created the Joker in a way. So you could argue it has some other properties because the Gotham sewers run right along Gotham's river. And, that has shite tons of Jeremiah's toxins in it. So it's affected this man's mind beyond repair to the point where he craves probably he does. He's been eating people human flesh and stuff like that. So I really found this really cool with Alfred and Bruce going down into the sewers, seeing, I'm just going to say it, Killer Croc. What I'm basically glad with what they did with this person is that they didn't kill him unlike somebody else in the episode. So that's why, if you're wondering why I'm talking about all of this right now, I believe it's Killer Croc, because essentially by the end of this episode, they just said, the doctors say that Jeremiah's toxins or chemicals did enough damage to this guy's mind. He may never get better or become normal again. So the way I choose to believe that is that this guy may go to prison, blah, 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 but will in future break out again and just carry on going down to Gotham sewers to live there, and Batman in the future will keep whipping this guy's ass. Time and time again, he may keep mutating. So that's why I truly believe it's Killer Croc. Plus, he really looked like him. It was really, really cool. Overall, I'm really happy with it. There's not really too much more to say other than the fact that I'm glad they just didn't kill him and that you can believe in your head that this guy's Killer Croc. And of course, I really like that Alfred and Bruce moment at the end. Alfred blames himself for like blowing up Wayne Manor or like being kind of responsible for that because it was like his last tie to the past. To Bruce, it's not really like a massive deal, and I understand that. I've already mentioned how a lot of times in a lot of Batman iterations, like Wayne Manor is either like rusted and dusted away or just collapsed or something else, and he lives like in some penthouse somewhere. So that could be the case. He could rebuild it one day. It doesn't really matter. But I also liked how they touched on the fact that Gotham needs a protector. Oh, that is going to happen sooner or later. But yeah, nice Alfred and Bruce moment. Now on to the last segment of this episode, and that is Penguin, Nygma, and the Ventriloquist. I wanted to save the best kind of till last, but also the most bittersweet thing. So yeah, Nygma's somehow building a submarine. You know what? I'll give you that. Just because Nygma is so smart, I don't want to nitpick it. I mean, I almost do, because he's literally building everything in a submarine, to the sonar, to everything. So, but as I said, comic book logic would dictate that the Riddler is the smartest, one of the smartest people, right? That maybe you could figure that out. But still, building a submarine in probably like, what, the span of a couple of weeks or so is... I'm not going to talk anymore about that. But that is when Mr. Penn arrives. So they kind of half explained how he survived. He just woke up in the morgue and like nursed himself back to health. But what I really did like is they really did nail the ventriloquist. But I don't want to... This is just my opinion here. Don't forget that. I think they did a very good job with the ventriloquist. And Andrew Sellon, I believe, Sellon, I'm sorry if I butchered his name. He did a fantastic job. He really did. If you didn't know, he's actually got ventriloquist skills in real life. It was fantastic. He couldn't be more perfect with his role as Mr. Penn in the ventriloquist. And I want to start off with all the positives first. And I love the fact that with this origin story, they added the fact that when he was like walking by somewhere in Gotham, he stumbled across a magic shop. Because if you didn't know, even though it is mostly interpreted in the comics that Mr. Penn, obviously, it's all to do with his mental health and everything like that as to why he has Scarface and, you know, like he's called a ventriloquist. And it really is just Mr. Penn being kind of mentally deranged, so to speak. But they have also touched upon the comics that there could be the supernatural like element to Scarface. And they threw the fact that he got him in a magic shop. I have to think that's deliberate because, you know, especially with the way it ended and when Scarface got shot in the head, I'll just jump to that bit quickly. He was like, oh, I'm free. Now, of course, yet again, you could attribute that to his psyche and his mental health issues, and the fact that, you know, maybe he developed like this split personality and stuff like that. But as I said, if you kind of look into it a bit more, they say that Scarface could really be like a supernatural element in that freaking dummy, and Mr. Penn really is, how do I put it, like just the dummy himself, so to speak. So they definitely hinted at that, I think, but, you know, I guess you can make your own mind up. But I did love how they added when he got shot in the head, even though I completely disagree with that he was free, and he was like, Mr. Cobblepot, how can I ever thank you? But yeah, let's just jump to the bit I really didn't like. They killed him. I'm sorry, I'm not on board at all with that. Like, I'm literally not on board with that at all. You can not like me for my opinion. That is completely wrong, I think. Everyone can have their own opinion. I respect it if you agree with it. But, like, introducing the ventriloquist, a Batman villain, and Scarface to just kill him off and just be like, oh, that's such a Gotham thing to do. There's no explanation behind it. Now, I don't know why they did that. Why didn't you just lock Mr. Penn up or just do something, right? Something else with him so he could come back in the future. You've literally introduced a Batman villain, or like technically two of them, in an episode, like a really fascinating one Gotham has wanted to do for ages. And I get that you've got given this extra opportunity to do that, but it would make people, and a lot of people, happy, I think, if you kind of like, I don't know, put him in Arkham Asylum or something like that, because they believe it is the mental deranged side of it. And then, you know, 10 years later, or just in our heads in the Batman universe, Bruce, or like this guy is going to try and come round, and Scarface is going to want to try and be the boss of Gotham again. But no, Gotham killed him. And no matter what you say, I cannot see any point in that. I just can't. I've really tried to think about it and I don't get it. I really don't get it, which is why I said I was thankful that they didn't kill off the killer Croc, or the guy who's evidently got to keep coming back to eat people and break out, as I said earlier, in the future. That's what I like about that. But why did you do that with him? Maybe it's a part of character issues. Maybe they have plans for him somehow in the Batman movie, because it's going to feature multiple Batman villains, and maybe they just think, okay, you can have him for one episode, but make sure you kill him off. But come on. Surely, and I don't know if that's true. I would understand if that's the case, maybe, but either way, though, guys, I don't want you to think I'm shitting on this, because as I said, Andrew did a fantastic job as Mr. Penn, as a ventriloquist. The way they have had him throughout the seasons of Gotham really does mold perfectly into the way that he could become the ventriloquist, especially wondering if the supernatural element to it is a thing, like a little Easter egg. But yeah, I can't forgive killing him. I just don't get it. So, but other than that, loved Scarface. He was really cool. Loved the way he portrayed it. I loved Ed's reaction to this, and Cobblepot's reaction to it. I love how they were trying to reason with the dummy and they couldn't believe they were speaking with the dummy. But yeah, I guess that's all I've got to say about that. But then, everyone, the episode ended on that kind of Nygma kind of friendship. Not the ship, but the friendship kind of thing. And I really like that. It's really good seeing that Oswald and Ed are partners again. And not like the best of friends, but, you know, it's ended on the fact that they do have a friendship. And it's finally good them not, you know, going throughout the rest of this season being at each other's throats still. So this kind of explains even more to the point when they kind of team up with Jim and they're all fighting against Bane. And then people are wondering where Bane is, by the way. He's coming soon. They're working on the Bane trailer. The guy who makes all the cinematic kind of like Jeremiah chemical trailers, blah, 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 Jerome stuff. I don't know if it's going to be the exact same, but if I had my best guess, they're going to do like a hype trailer for Bane. Yet again, I do have to say, even with the most respect to the guy, there are normally a lot of spoilers in these trailers. So I think, you know, if you don't want any spoilers, I recommend not watching it. I truly believe wholeheartedly a lot of people who talk about the Ace Chemicals episode saying, oh, I feel like they didn't do this enough or that enough. I really do believe it's because, just imagine for a second, you didn't see any of the cinematic, so the movie cinematic trailer, the Jeremiah Ace Chemicals trailer, and there was like another special trailer, I think. It essentially showed every scene in it. So just wipe that from your mind and imagine how like fascinating it would have been seeing the Ace Chemicals episode for the first time without, just seeing any of it in the trailer. I really do feel like these trailers, as much as they hype up the show, they also desensitize you a little bit from the final product you see when it airs. But aside from that, Gothamites, that is the episode. I hope you enjoyed the review. It was quite like a, quite a fluent episode. I liked it for a lot of reasons, but also I'm really annoyed by what happened. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I love reading everything you guys have to say. As I said, I can't get back to every single one of you. I do try and comment, and if I can't comment, I want to let you guys know I read your comments by leaving a little love heart on it as well. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Subscribe if you're brand new, of course. Especially if you got this far, crush that thumbs up button to really help out this review. You guys are killing the thumbs up button at the minute. Like, seriously, my past couple of Gotham videos have got over 1,000 likes. That's mad for me. And also, other than that, check out the Teespring store, the Boba merch store, all new kind of stuff in there. I'd really appreciate you guys checking that out. Patreon is down there as always, Discord and everything like that, social media. But thank you so much for watching Gothamites. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Trailer breakdown will be up on Saturday as usual. Goodbye.